Okay, now let's move on to a little more modern car. Let's jump up to the year 1934. This is the 1934 Voisin C27 Aerosport. Okay, I think this is one of the prettiest cars in the world. Again, if you look at the characteristic of the car and the flowing lines, and specifically like in the back, you'll see how this drops off. Okay, you'll see that this is part of their brand. This is part of their styling. You know, this is what makes the Voisin car lines actually sort of stand out. They were very stylish, very low profile. The proportion from here to here is very, very small, okay? As compared to a lot of the cars today which had very large cabin areas, they were very small and precise vehicles, okay? So this is, we're gonna do a 3/4 front view on this car. I'm gonna show my paperwork. Again, we've got our sketchbook. I divide it in half. Works. And first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna notice here with this vehicle, okay, but again, we'll go back to our box configuration, okay? So we've got, you know, you've got a box. It's basically, it all sits in within a box. Okay, like that. That's a great way to start. So we'll, let's see here, this, make a box. Or a rectangle, I should say. Again, it's sort of a perspective to it. Now this view is really sort of a 3/4 tilt up, because you're going to see the actual top of the vehicle. So just like a box, we're going to see the side, the front, and the top. Side, front, and top, okay? So yeah, we start with a box, okay? We can put our wheels in. Okay, put a wheel in here. Now what's great about, what's interesting about doing car design, you kind of design them somewhat invisible. So you put the other one over here, the other tire. And I always draw the car, always set my wheels up. You know the trick I taught you about how to get from this wheel to this wheel? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5.5 in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and about in here. Okay, so we're about here. And you're drawing your perspective, again, of your cylinder. Basically, you're drawing a cylinder for the wheels. See that? So very light. Okay, so you got your 2 cylinders. This is the outside of the box. Here's our wheels. This is our track, as they say, the outside of the wheels itself, okay? And then we're gonna basically foreshorten the side view. So we've got the, well, actually, let's start with the front. So here's our wheel. We've got a fender that comes up this way. It goes back. And in the front, there's a bumper. First we have a ground clearance here. There's the bottom of the car. And we don't want to draw very light lines. Okay. Here's the front, here's the fender. The other side. And we can check the height, make sure the perspective is right. We've got our lamps, front lamps in here. Put a second one in here. Okay, we got the front, sort of a shroud that covers probably the suspension parts. This is where the axle, or the axle, but the tie rods and things are that basically move the wheels back and forth. They're all back inside here. As we learned from the other vehicle, this is where the springs were, but we've covered those with fenders, see? Then we've got the radiator about here in the middle. Again, very light lines at first. And this really cool, iconic, they call a mascot. It's basically a radiator cap, but the strong ornamentation, very, very Art Deco. You take a look at this thing up close. These are really neat. This was, again, the swooping back, these lines that move this way, the back of the vehicle, this iconic Art Deco looking little statue for its mascot. Really nice detail work here. Again, these are aviation guys. These guys design airplanes, so a lot of their vehicles looked like airplanes, or had that characteristic of airplane construction. So we bring this line back here. Now we can work on the side of the vehicle. Continue our fender back here. There's the door. Okay. This goes back here to a point. Okay. Put the door in. Again, it's got this little strange little sort of opening for the door. I think that was very characteristic of an airplane, so they could look out. Got the interior in here. Again, these lines all have to converge this way. There's the windshield. What's interesting about this car, it had a radius to the sunroof. This is actually a big piece of glass that moves up and moves back. So even in 1934, they had moonroofs and understood the nature of opening the car up. So here's our basic sort of shape. Oh, being automotive, or the aviation guys, you can see they didn't have a strut here. Very interesting. They, weren't too sure how to hang the fenders, so they just put a piece of metal out there that actually holds the fenders on. Oh, and I need to mention, you can actually find these vehicles. I put the address here. You can find a lot of, I think it's one of the largest collections in the country of Voisin and French automobiles at the Moulin Automotive Museum in Oxnard, California, up north of LA. So if you find yourself taking a trip up towards LA, or past LA, I should say, going up north on something, may not be bad time to take a look if you're really into cars. But I left the address here. Okay. So here we've got our vehicle all put inside the box, and very nice, and sort of these light, sort of that when we talk about that first level of lines, like number 1 level, number 2 level, and then now we're going to start darkening some things up a little bit. Okay, we can start with go back to the front end. We can actually make the ellipse a little darker. You gotta notice in the lamp, what's neat about the lamp is you're gonna see, okay, this is the old style lamp, and it had a bulb back in here, okay? Well, this was a concave surface, and of course that projected the light, right? Well, because it was concave, this surface became the highlight. This is where the sun would hit this. In this surface, you saw the ground line. So you see how dark it is up there? That's actually the grass in this scene. So you actually put the dark up on top, like this. And you do the horizon inside here. So you just reverse the whole metal thing. So that's basically that's picking up the ground, and that's picking up the sun, because again the shape is concave. So we're gonna make the dark. That's why it's dark here. Dark up on top here a little bit. Put our bulb in. See, very quick. Again, very lights, some medium darks there. We can go back to the radiator. There's the center of it. Again, we just put some lines in here, indicate a radiator. It's a sketch. This comes out here. Talk about doing the wheels. You had a smaller radius, or excuse me, smaller lips, larger lips. Here's our tire. We keep the top of the tire light, and we'll make it dark towards the bottom. Yeah. There's the depth of the tire. You might even see a little bit of the tire on the other side, like you see here. See, there's the other side of that tire. Come back here. Large radius and a small radius, but I mean the perspective here, the ellipse here. And again, these are bright shiny metal. Here's the center knockoff. Again, they would take that and screw that off. Here's the light area. There's where the sun is on top of that, because the surface is doing this. And just like the opposite of this concave, this is convex, so it goes out. So this area here is actually picking up the grass here. One thing about car design, which is interesting, if you look at a car, just look at the reflections, especially black cars. Shiny black cars really show off the environment. And just look at a car and see what you see inside the car. Sort of like that example we did with the metal projects, and I showed you the cars with reflections on them. So a lot of design is about observation, just observing nature and observing how things are done around you. Line comes up here. There's some little vents here. Again, if you look at these vents, it's like that's carryover from their their aviation days. They've got a little buckle here for tying down the hood section where the engine is. This is what we call an A post. Okay, this is called a B post. Again, a little bit of automotive design trivia here. There's our seats. And if you look closely in the seats, you'll see this really interesting pattern. If you do more research on this vehicle, you see all these little dots and all these little crevices and things in the seats. And all that was about, it's an Art Deco. Again, 1934, Art Deco is a big deal. And we're darkening this back area here. The glass is dark. A little bit of the other side here. Sometimes you might see reflections in the glass. We'll just put a couple lines there. Make it look shiny. And they've got all these different windshield wipers. We'll just put a few of these in here. Darken out the outside just a little bit. Iconic tail that sweeps back. Oh, fender here. I forgot the fender. This does this. There we go. And let's see. That's basically our car. Again, the proportions look about right. We can actually measure the proportion by using the wheel again, and it kind of comes in here. The wheel. Usually, most sedans, the size of the tire is about the size of the top of another tire proportionally. Just how we used to, how we did the person wheel. You start with the head and it's a circle. Cars have that same thing to it. And then as far as making we got this. Now, cars are somewhat complex, I admit, but they're a lot of fun because there's a lot of little details. And then this has got sort of a two-tone. I guess we could try and just put a little bit, some contrast in here. Maybe just a little bit. You go back in and darken out some of our more details, especially around the tire, the wheel, the ground line. I tend not to put in too many shadows in a vehicle sketch like this, because I think it actually sort of detracts. So we get our really nice looking see now at that number 3 level pen where we're darkening things in for contrast. A little bit of a turn here. A little bit of reflection in the inside there. There we go. So, let's move on to the 3/4 rear view.